You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
I'm back. Road Rants for Black and White Sports. Let's talk about almost the only non-woke NFL story that is out there. The only thing that seems to be interesting at all, the only player where the ratings are actually holding all year long. Anytime he's involved with a game of the week, Monday Night Football, that prime Fox slot on Sunday afternoon, game of the week. In fact, those ratings are actually up when Tommy Boy plays. Let's talk about Bruce Arians. Former Patriot Rob Ninkovich has come out and made some interesting comments, and I absolutely agree with him. As we know, look, Tom Brady has looked really good at times this season, most of the season, and then at other times he's looked not so good. I had a theory before the season started that we talked about in videos before the sports world went nuts, and something we talked about on live streams before the sports world went nuts with all their social justice shit. I don't love the fit of Tom Brady and Bruce Arians. I never did. Never did love it. And the woke sports media, the Tom Brady haters, they're never going to come out and say this. They are never going to say it. It was always a poor coaching fit. Always. Let's see what Rob Ninkovich's got to say. As we know, Bruce Arians has been throwing Tom Brady under the bus, throwing his own players under the bus. Can you imagine Bill Belichick? You know, Bill Belichick would have been like, oh, you know, we're on to Cincinnati. But you get the point. We know Bill famously ride his players in practice, throw his players, even Tom Brady, under the bus during film sessions and during their meetings, but never on to the media. This is something Bruce Arians is doing. He's done it all year. Bruce said this earlier in the week. Other than the deep ball, I think Brady is getting confused a few times with coverage. That might be causing some inaccurate balls. That isn't the first time Arians has openly critiqued Brady while speaking with the media. And it is not sitting well with former Patriots linebacker Rob Ninkovich. He was on ESPN's Get Up this morning, and he ripped Arians. And then he said something that I've been thinking for a while. Tom Brady needs a new head coach. Quote, I'm giving Tom Brady a new head coach because Bruce Arians at this point, right now, he's not cutting it. All of his interviews, he is throwing players under the bus. Asking him about Tom Brady being confused by coverages. I don't think Tom Brady gets confused by coverages. It's the first time Tom Brady has ever had a coach throw him under the bus like this. And he's talking about in reference to throwing him under the bus to the media. Okay, like I said, Bill would ride his players in meetings, in practice. Even Tom Brady. He'd famously ride Tom and throw him under the bus. But look, it's the play style. It's the coaching style that's the problem here. Okay, and even under that, Tom Brady's 7-4, 45 yards away from 3,000 through 11 games, 25-9. But the problem is Bruce Arians runs this damn no risk it, no biscuit style of offense. He wants Tom. Let's take 5-step drops. Let's take 7-step drops. I know you're 43 years old, but fuck it. Let's do it. And then throw the ball 45 yards down the field. That is not Tom Brady's strength. Why did you sign Tom Brady if you was not ready to install most of New England's offense? Most of Josh McDaniels' offense? Can you imagine what Tom Brady would be doing right now if you picked these weapons up that he's got, dropped them in New England with Josh McDaniels? Does anybody remember Tom Brady and Randy Moss? Does anybody remember that? Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Cameron Brake, Rob Gronkowski, Antonio Brown at the slot instead of slow-ass Julian Edelman. The problem is Tom Brady had no weapons in New England. Look, regardless of what you got to say about Cam Newton, He's got no weapons in New England, okay? He's got literally Pro Football Focus, last 2 seasons, worst wide receiving core in the league. Still. Bruce Arians, and look, Arians is sort of known lately to not be a huge grinder as a coach. Okay, a little too much, calling it a night, 7. Look, you learn a lot of this stuff, listen to a lot of different podcasts. Calling it a night, maybe at 7 p.m. at night, whereas Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels don't leave till 11 p.m. or maybe never leave the building at all. And Tom Brady is that kind of grinder. He's that kind of grinder. I would argue that Tom Brady is carrying Bruce Arians' ass at this point. He's trying to survive back there. I think it's I think it's a terrible offensive fit. Yes, the weapons are great for Tom Brady. They're wonderful. But you had to be willing to incorporate most of that New England offense. And I just don't think Bruce Arians and his ego is allowing him to do that. Run New England's offense. You know, a lot of schemes are the same. Tom Brady knows that offense. Let him install his own plays. And here's the problem. Tom's only going to play the rest of this year and next year, and that's it. Okay? So if you let Bruce Arians go, who are you going to bring? You'd have to hire Josh McDaniels. You would have to. For this to work out for one more year with Tom Brady, and then McDaniels is left with nobody unless Tom decides to play one more year beyond that. Even with all of that, they're 7-4. I said before the season started, I thought Tom Brady might throw 15 to 18 picks in Bruce Arians' offense. Because that's just what you do. He's got 9 interceptions right now. He's going to throw 14, 15, 16 picks in this offense because you're throwing the ball 45 down. Look, he wants to 6, 8, 10, 12, 15, 18, 20 yards. He wants to put together 8 to 13 play drives down the field. He doesn't want to put together 7 play drives where one of the balls thrown is 45 yards. Okay, he wants to get down. He wants to read the defense. He wants to maneuver everybody around. That's not what... Bruce Arians is frustrated. Bruce Arians is frustrated because he can't run his offense with Tom Brady. And Tom Brady, look, he's a class act. He's not going to throw his coach under the bus. But I think Tom Brady knows Bruce Arians is not disciplined as a head coach nearly to the extent of what he's used to, even with Josh McDaniels as an offensive coordinator. And I think he knows, look, I'm trying to survive in this offense right now because Bruce Arians' offense famously gets quarterbacks' heads caved in because of those 5 and 7 step drops with limited protection, generally speaking. And let's not lose sight of the fact, no minicamp, no training camp, no preseason, new team, new offense. Looks like he's doing pretty damn well under those circumstances, if you ask me. But no, every media member in the world, Nick Wright, Max Kellerman, all these bozos want to talk about Tom Brady being washed up when maybe they ought to look at the guy down below. Rob Nikovich was right. He needs a new head coach, but I think it's too late for that. Look, great fit far as weapons go, terrible fit far as coaching goes. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.